When Carlos and I first started working together, this was the posture that he would put his body into just at as he was going into his load and into his hitting position. This first line is sort of a rough idea of what the spine angle is like, and that in turn kind of highlights what the amount of bend is in the waist. So this little squiggly line is designed to show us what his posture's like. So how much bend in the waist is there? How much bend in the knee area is there? And so you can see that at 102 and 83, we're at a place where the the posture is such that he's got a lot of bend. There's a lot of bend. And when you bend a lot at the waist, especially, there's one advantage, and that is that you can reach the outside portion of the plate easier. And if you're in a position where you can just kind of put your hands out in front of you, extended like you're hitting a ball, and then lean over, when you bend at the waist, your hands go lower and your whole body gets out over the plate more. And that's going to allow you to reach. It's also going to force you to swing more upward. You don't have any choice in that matter. And that's part of the reason for his being talked about as having a severe uppercut. That's part of the reason for that taking place. Now, in reality, if you look at how severe this spine angle is, if you look at the angle that he's created here as compared to what straight up and down would kind of look like, that'll give you an idea. The barrel is he's actually swinging down in comparison to his spine angle. So if he were to stand up perfectly straight, this would be a downward swing line. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but it's the posture that's causing that swing to go up. Now, the disadvantage to that body position, the advantage is you can cover outside part of the plate. This looks like it's probably going to even be off the plate a little bit, and yet he gets there pretty easily. The downside is that it's really almost impossible to cover this up and in area, because the up and in area, if he were to hit this out in front, he's going to hook it foul. And that was typically what would happen whenever he would get an up and in fastball that he would actually get to, a cutter inside, a Halliday cutter, or a Halliday comeback fastball. If he were to swing at it, he's going to pull that thing foul. So let's take a look at that now. Halliday, like many pitchers, is going to use the whole area of the strike zone. Carlos had a really rough time against him early on because he's going to throw pitches that look like they're going down the middle, and it's going to end up being a cutter up and in, or a cutter middle in, slider kind of off the plate a little bit, and then even a curveball that would start towards the middle and then end up down at his feet. And then a high up and away two-seamer that would start in the middle, and then a two-seamer that would sink to the outside part of the plate, and then a changeup that's going to go to the bottom part of the strike zone and even off the plate, but at 10 or so miles an hour less. So his typical arrangement was to throw everything right down the middle, or seemingly, and then nothing stayed there. Everything moved to the inside or the outside part of the plate. And then all of a sudden, here comes this comebacker fastball that would start in towards him and then work its way back to the plate. So very difficult to handle that when your intent is to hit everything down here and lean it out over the plate to do it. This pitch becomes impossible to hit. There's just no way that it's going to, number one, that you can that you're going to want to swing at it, because leaning out over the plate, this thing looks like it's going to hit you, and that's why you see him react in the way that he does. Here's another example, a little better ball flight, but this is later on. Posture changes a little bit. Still a tough pitch to wrap your mind around when you're so used to leaning out over the plate. And this will give you a better idea. When he lets go of this pitch, it is way inside and then moves its way back towards the plate. But this time he's able to keep that thing fair and hits it out. And when we look at these two pitches on top of each other, they're almost exactly the same pitch. Only one of them is taken and the other one's hit out. But the ball flight is almost identical. The place that they end up is really is identical. But the intent is very different from one to the next. So the only way to be able to handle pitches in that portion of the plate and to really truly become an all-around hitter as opposed to just someone who can reach out and hit the outside part of the plate, but then swing and miss and hit a lot of toppers and pop-ups, is that ability to begin the process of leveling off. So when we look at towards the end of that season, his posture had changed to a place where he's getting the barrel in line with the pitch more often. And against some of the better pitchers in the game, you see that the posture is going to start to change a little bit. And it doesn't have any choice. When your intent changes, and the intent is to try to start hitting balls all over the strike zone, as opposed to just one area of the strike zone, there's no choice but to change that. And that's all about game planning. That's all about the idea of being able to handle the whole portion of the strike zone, not just one area. And one crazy thing that happens is when you change your intent to be able to cover this portion of the plate better, he doesn't lose his nitro zone. He still is always going to be able to handle the outside part of the plate. That's just something that's a natural bonus for him. But as a result of becoming better at handling that portion of the plate, the inside portion of the plate, it makes it easier to take pitches that are off the plate. So that was a giant step in the right direction to be able to put more balls in play that had a chance to be a hit. And that is all about having the posture right to create a swing line that's going to produce that type of hits.